Yo, what's up, y'all? This is 19 Guy Fate here. Here with another Love is Blind Season 6, Valentine's Day review of episode 2 for Season 6. And I gotta say, man, this is a really good one. This was actually such a good episode that I actually had to watch it again. I actually watched it again. Honestly, usually the Pods episodes in the past seasons of Love Is Blind has not been that good. Usually can't wait for them to get out, but right now it's really cooking, man. I gotta say, man. So one of the way the episode starts, right, is Jeremy, that very kind of like extroverted guy, the guy who said he has a bed, he has a house with 4 bedrooms in it. He made fun of Matthew in the men's quarters with the other guys, making fun of Matthew's quietness and shyness. And then he attempted to sit on Matt's lap. And the other boys are kind of making fun of Matthew. And, so definitely they're kind of taking the piss out of it for Matthew, man. But anyway, Matthew goes into the pods. He speaks to AD. He gets called out for saying the same thing to the other girl named Amber. Matthew, guess what? He skillfully manipulates his way out of the corner in that conversation and preys on AD's future hopes and dreams of like trying to basically get out of the pods, successfully, marriage and all of that. I honestly didn't even realize what he was doing. It was so underhanded and so manipulative if you think about it. Like, I don't even think Matthew himself knew he was doing that. Like, it was so good. Like, all of a sudden, he was like, he was just not in a tight spot again in the conversation about him talking to the other girl with the same conversation. So it was toxic. Honestly, it was underhanded, very sly, and toxic. So 80 goes into the pods with Clay this time and mentions the triangle. And Clay got pissed. He was walking around the couch in circles and he got upset. He was like, what does this have to do with me? Are you with me or are you that conversation you just said had nothing to do with me, he said. And he ended up making 80 cry. So no, he too is manipulative as well, but in an extroverted way, overt way, so it's crazy because in a way 80 is kind of getting it. She's kind of getting the worst parts of an introverted guy, Matthew, and the worst parts of an extroverted guy like Clay. So that is so freaking wild, man. So Clay goes back into the men's quarters and he says that Matthew is a sleeper, meaning that he basically underestimated Matthew. And now Matthew is a sleeper hit. He's like a sleeper, you know, somebody who you think you're not gonna need to compete with, but they are probably winning the battle. Lo and behold. So I like that whole exchange and about he was talking about, oh, he thought that Matthew was beneath him and he don't want to see any competition with the guys because especially with people that he feels that are beneath him. So Clay was going popping off, but you notice he never mentioned nothing to the big giant Matthew. So, because Matthew actually, while Matthew is super introverted, he does look and give that kind of air of dominance among all the men. I don't think nobody would actually want to fight the farmer financial advisor with the spreadsheets, if you know what I mean, right? So, back in the women's quarters, 80 mentions to Amber about Matthew telling her the same thing that he has been telling Amber that same day, a day later. And Amber said, you know what? I'm going to bow out. And when she said that, um, AD and her other friend, like they, especially AD was, if you notice it, she smirked. She was happy that the other Amber was saying that she was going to bow out and leave. So that was kind of like devilish a little bit. But anyway, we get a new couple, and this is a wholesome story with the new couple, Kenneth, the school principal, and Brittany, the ex-teacher. They seem to be getting along, and they bonded on Brittany's twin story that she mentioned in the past when they were there together. They seem to also have similar backgrounds and share similar like painful past and sorrow. So I'm rooting for them too, as the wholesome couple. But one of the craziest parts of this episode is when um um what's her name? I forgot her name, but she was the girl that told Jimmy that she looks like MGK's wife, Megan Fox. Are you kidding me, bro? Whoa, like yo, because of her dark hair and blue eyes, that is way too manipulative. Now, the other guys may have been manipulative in the past, but this is extreme. This is just a blatant lie. She does not. Don't say she herself is kind of hinting that she doesn't think it, but the fact that she mentions it instead of other people are claiming that is so manipulative, and it might get Jimmy to end up picking her over the other girl with the daughter, Jessica. And it's as it so turns out, Jessica, the girl with the daughter, actually looks way more like Megan Fox. So how crazy is that? I mean, Megan Fox is that hot. I don't know if you all know who's Megan Fox, MGK wife. She's the American actress. She's been in Transformers, Ninja Turtles, and Jennifer's Body when she was recruited as a teenager. There's a lot of controversy with that. But anyway, Johnny, the other couple, Johnny, the account executive, and Amy, the e-commerce specialist, they're the first to get proposed to each other. And she went back in the women's quarters, Amy, the e-commerce specialist, with her flowers, her pink flowers, and she was so happy celebrating with her flowers, and she was like screaming, "I'm a fiance!" And I think one girl came up to her and said, like, even the flowers match your dress and all that crazy stuff. So that's good. But anyway, we're not here for love, guys. We are here for chaos. And AD and Matthew re-enter the pods, and guess what? Not AD, Matthew is sniffling. He's sniffling, and she's like, "Are you sick? Are you sick, or are you crying?" You know what I mean? The first thing that Matthew said is that he's going through it, and first thing he really says is he then says, "Amber, did you know that Amber left the show?" And he sniffled again, and then he ended up talking about America loving him as the underdog. And then Matthew asked AD, if she has another connection with somebody else. Then she kind of hesitantly said yes. And then he kind of proceeds to kind of romantically, lightly reject her. He sniffled again. He's like, sniffling. And then AD said, "You sound devastated." And she asked, "Is it because Amber left?" And he says, "Yeah." And he kind of, so it was kind of interesting. He said that he broke her heart. So it was like, bro, you were lying to AD all along. And honestly, bro, it's probably because in the previous episode you were talking about, she mentioned about, ethnicity and race. It's so interesting that she thought that, I'm just going to speculate, I think it's because of race. It's so interesting that she thought Clay was very surface level and superficial, but it turned out Matthew is also superficial. He's just underhanded about it. Back in the men's quarters, Matthew says he is done and he is going to get Amber. This guy, clearly, guys, no, they didn't show what was going on in the ponds with their talks, Amber, the white girl Amber, and Matthew. But clearly, it had to be super strong, whatever they were talking about. And obviously, the fact that he knew that she was probably white and, probably more his type, which is fine. But it was interesting. For him to just leave. Usually guys don't leave. If you remember in the past Love is Blind season, the other girl left Uche, the African guy. But Uche stayed. regardless, even if he didn't really have a connection with anybody, a strong connection with anybody, he still stayed. So the fact to me that Matthew left like the same in the same in the same in the same moment while he was going through that frustration, and about Amber leaving and talking to AD right after, like he didn't even sit down, he didn't collect his thoughts, he just said, I'm gonna go for Amber right now, I'm leaving. He clearly, it was about, it's definitely about race, and I don't care. And AD knows it. AD knows it. So anyway, guys, I'm loving this this Valentine, basically Netflix Love is Blind season 6. I'm gonna go ahead and watch season 3. I mean, season 6, episode 3, and get back with you guys. Until next time, Jala, later.